Flying business class on the Emirates A380 is a dream, but what happens when you add a 4-month-old baby into the mix? Coming up in this video, we take our little baby A on a 4-hour hop from beautiful Christchurch across the Tasman to Sydney and show you an insight into the world of infant travel. Welcome to Christchurch International Airport. Fun fact, it's the smallest city in the world to have a daily A380 service. This route to Dubai operates via Sydney, making the first leg a fifth freedom flight, and one of the best value ways to experience Emirates premium cabins. We had flown this in first class before, and if you wanted to check what that looked like, I've linked the video below. This time though, we are flying business class with a 4-month-old baby. Wish us luck. Yes, babies are allowed in business class. For first class though, Emirates recently changed its policy and no longer allows first class points redemptions for children under 8, but cash is still possible. I have never appreciated priority check-in this much. These separate lines come in handy when juggling a baby and bags. Yeah, he's got the most luggage here.
That's how it is, eh? That's how it is nowadays.
Emirates infant policy only allows one baby item for check-in, which is stricter than many airlines. Luckily, with our 40 kg allowance per adult, we had no problem getting a car seat, pram and a cot checked in. The staff were great and they even took the infant items to the oversized baggage area for us.
Besides that, you should be good to go.
Alright, thank you so much.
I'll take this to the oversized for you.
Oh, that's great. After check-in, we headed upstairs to the departure area, and Christchurch Airport has done something pretty cool here. There is a digital innovation zone with a massive Flight Radar 24 screen, perfect for av geeks and curious travelers alike. It's a great way to track your flight as it comes into the city. This also gave us a chance to give baby a quick feed before the next set of formalities. Soon after that, we headed through immigration and security and into the airside area. This is also where we got our first glimpse of the aircraft for today, the Airbus A380. In a small airport like Christchurch, surrounded by farms, this aircraft literally turns heads. Here is a Google Earth view showing just how much this aircraft dominates the space over the buildings during its visits. You want to try going to the lounge or not? Since we had some time before boarding, we made our way to the provided lounge, and this is where the experience drops off a little. Emirates for its part doesn't operate its own lounge in Christchurch, so first and business class passengers are instead given access to the Manaya lounge, which is a contracted third-party offering. To be fair, it's one of the better priority pass lounges I have visited. But if you're expecting the luxury of an Emirates lounge in Dubai or the Qantas Points in Sydney, this isn't it. It does tick most of the boxes and offers some pretty spacious showers too. The food and drink selection was minimal, but honestly, it's not a bad thing, as it left us with more room to enjoy the full onboard dining experience. Soon enough, our boarding call was made, and I made our way to the gate. Or at least I thought I was making my way to the gate.
You guys want to head on to gate number 31?
Oh, 31.
Yeah, next one down, guys. Need your passports too.
Oh, sure, thanks. Fun fact, Christchurch uses a separate gate setup to board the upper deck of the A380. Let's go! So exciting again to fly on the A380. While we have been lucky to fly premium cabins before, it was a different feeling to be able to share this with our little guy. Dubai-based carrier Emirates operates the largest fleet of Airbus A380s in the world. On board, the entire upper deck is reserved for first and business class. Today we are seated in business and there are 78 seats in total, laid out in a 1-to-1 configuration. This means every seat gets direct aisle access. Up the front is the exclusive 14-seat first class cabin, and tucked behind business class is the iconic Emirates Bar. Stepping on board, the Emirates cabin really hits you with all its bling and luxury touches. The aircraft had a refreshed cabin that feels even more premium than before, with cream leather seats, false wood finishes, and that signature Emirates glow. We had selected the first row, not for its legroom, but because these are equipped with bassinets, which would come in handy later. For couples flying without window cravings, I would recommend the middle seats in odd-numbered rows. These are closer together and perfect for sharing the experience. This sector from Christchurch to Sydney was quite empty, and this meant that we had more space to move around and the crew could give us more attention. The seat itself was genuinely one of the most comfortable in the sky. Only the basic amenities like pillow, blankets, slippers and eye mask were provided. The same cannot be said about babies, who got a few goodies to play with. One of the more fun touches was a personal mini bar, built right into the side console. Not motorized like in first class, but it's still cool. Two things in this cabin really stood out for me: the huge storage bins along the windows, a unique upper deck feature, and the automated blinds, totally unnecessary, but seriously cool. Pre-departure service included probably the best smelling hot towel I've ever had. And of course, a glass of champagne as we pushed back from our gate. The flight cameras offered 3 different angles as we made our way, dwarfing the A320neo family aircraft that frequent this airport. Our long taxi took us south to runway 02 for an on-time departure from Christchurch. The takeoff experience on the A380, especially from the upper deck, is as smooth as it gets. You barely hear or feel a thing, and it's honestly a game changer in passenger comfort. Even the little guy looked impressed by what he was seeing. Shortly after departure, the aircraft turned left to cross over the braided Waimakere River, before climbing above the clouds to reach its cruising altitude. The Bassinet was deployed and Baby A gave us the gift of calm, letting us truly enjoy the moment. Service kicked off with olives and a drink, a classy touch that paired perfectly with the best in-flight entertainment that anyone could ask for. New Zealand's southern Alps, dusted in the snow and glowing in the sunset. It was without doubt one of the most breathtaking views I've ever had on a plane. While waiting for dinner, I snuck out to the back to check out one of the 5 lavatories on board. And it was a clean and spacious offering, fitted with voyeur amenities and complete with a window. While the Emirates first class bathrooms have a shower, they don't offer a window. So technically, is this superior? Back at my seat, it was time to check out the menu for the day. Emirates is crazy and lets you preview menus up to 9 months in advance, but they also provide a paper copy on board. There was a huge write-up on the biryani, and while I was already leaning that way, this basically seals the deal. It was a single tray service, and the Gulf-style lamb biryani was served piping hot, along with a prawn salad starter, some raita on the side, and a bread roll. The spices were balanced, the texture was perfect, and the flavor was spot on. With this, you could say, now I've completed the biryani trilogy, and I've had biryanis on the big 3 Middle Eastern carriers, but I really can't choose between them. They were all good in their own way. For dessert, 3 options were provided, and I went for the cheese platter. Simple but satisfying, and yes, I was very hungry, so I polished off the whole tray. The only thing left was this little box of Swiss chocolates, which I saved for later. About halfway through the flight, we took a walk out to the back of the upper deck and into one of the most iconic spaces in commercial aviation. The Emirates A380 Bar is shared by both business and first class passengers, and it's not just for show, it's a fully stocked lounge in the sky. It has its own menu with cocktails, mocktails, sandwiches and cakes. And there was a diverse selection of Arabic chocolates, which we got to sample while we were there. On a long-haul flight, I can see how this lounge would be a great mid-flight reset to grab a snack and/or a drink and meet a few travelers. And to change things up, you can even step behind the bar and pretend to be a bartender. Emirates crew took photos and printed out Polaroids of this moment, a very cool souvenir to take home. The bar was surprisingly lively during the visit. It felt like almost everyone from business and first seemed to be hanging out there, and some baby friendships were made. Aww. It was eventually time to head back to our seats as we approached the east coast of Australia. The seatbelt sign came on and the iconic Sydney Harbour Bridge came into view as we began our descent. Flying on the A380 is always an ambient extreme, no matter which cabin you're in, but flying on the upper deck was something truly special. This short hop across the Tasman ticked all the boxes: a sumptuous meal, warm hospitality, and some of the best business class seats in the sky. The bar is a fun bonus that really adds to the sense of occasion. All this makes Emirates the best way to cross the Tasman, even with a kid. And this experience left us wanting more, perhaps a longer flight to Dubai next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to King's Point, Tasman International, sending the local time is 6:35 in the evening, and the temperature is 17 degrees. Thanks for flying Emirates. We hope you fly to our port. See you again soon.
Thank you. How was it?
Great.
Great. Thanks to the codeshare partnership between Emirates and Qantas, we were able to book this flight between Christchurch and Sydney using Qantas Points. The easiest way to search for this is using the multi-city search on the Qantas website. As you can see, this route is widely available in all classes. A one-way trip costs less 43,600 Qantas points per person. The best part is that infants under 2 years of age travel for free when booked using Qantas Points. And while Emirates is notorious for sky-high surcharges on long-haul flights, we're talking thousands here. This short hop across the Tasman comes with very low taxes, making it the perfect redemption and bucket list experience. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe for more infant travel content.